All right, plant foldies, this is just an extra little tidbit that I wanted to give you, some different content. So I have been connecting with some people that watch the channel. So obviously we have my friend Isiak, who has a YouTube channel called Hi JR Sings. He has been kind enough to allow me into his space so we can just look at some of his plants. So I'm just gonna ask some questions. First of all, Isiak.
What's up, Richie?
Let's go ahead and introduce yourself to all of the viewers.
Hey everybody, this is Isiak with Hi JR Sings, and Richie and I, we've been friends for a long time, and so he has gotten into plants, and so we've always been into plants, but now he's really being an influencer in the community.
I am not an influencer.
Oh, yeah, you're an influencer in the community. I think it's fantastic. He's very knowledgeable at what he does, and so I just kind of rehab plants. I don't know the names of all of my plants, and I have to look them up online. And so, but my enjoyment of plants is a little bit different. His is educational. Mine is just purely for recreation.
Yeah. So speaking of like plants, so Isiak, as far as like your plant journey, so obviously on the very right is a special type of Aglaonema. Do you want to kind of pick it up, show it, and then you can tell me what you think about this Aglaonema? Where did it come from?
Well, I think this one is a special for me because my Filipino grandma, actually Richard's grandma, she calls me her grandson. She gave me this, and it was definitely much smaller, probably about half this size. And if you have seen a video of me, I'm kind of cheap. So I am kind of cheap. And so basically she gave me this, and I really haven't done anything to it. The container that she gave it to me, that's what it's in. Typically I'm an underwaterer. I don't water a lot, but it's special because she gave it to me, and she said, oh, did you want some more? So I ended up getting like 3 or 4 plants that day. And so, but this is one of them that is just really grown. This is one of the larger ones that she has given me.
Okay, awesome, Isiak. So obviously we're going to take a look at some of your plants, but you know, I love to just have that open dialogue. Thank you for just supporting me. We see each other pretty much every day. And you know, for all of our plant foldies and viewers, Isiak is my best friend. We've known each other for about 25 years. So here's a little tidbit. Some of the plants that we're going to show you today in this episode is plants that I almost sent to plant heaven, but thankfully Isiak has been willing to be more patient with some of the plants, so he's been able to actually prevent them from going to plant heaven and actually has gotten them to thrive. So we'll delve into that. But you know, what's interesting about Isiak is he has gone to the Philippines about 3 times, and four. Oh, it's the 4th. Thank you. This year, right? So Isiak went with me to the Philippines back in August, and it was our 4th time there. And I did want to ask Isiak, you know, we look at all of these tropical plants. What was your impressions about all of the plants that we were just pretty much seeing, like literally outside? Like, is there a concept of houseplants in the Philippines? Or
yeah, it's gorgeous because it is a tropical climate, and so over here, some of the plants that people are, you know, they pay a lot of money for, over there it is very inexpensive. And so it was just a unique perspective to see, you know, at least for me. You know, since you're on this plant journey, you're kind of dragging me along a little bit, and so I've definitely learned a little bit more. But that was kind of the biggest takeaway for me, was just seeing all of these plants, and some of them were just growing naturally in a field somewhere, and then you could call it out. You were able to say, oh yeah, that's some, you know, that's whatever plant it was, and how much it cost. And I was like, but it's just growing out in the field here. But it's probably nothing different than supply and demand, just like everything else. If people want it and they're willing to pay for it, somebody's going to cultivate it. And
okay.
And I think that's really what it was.
And you know, as we kind of feature this, and obviously I want to show you this beautiful Aglaonema. So my grandmother is, obviously for those that haven't seen it, you know, grandmother, she is the expert. She has gotten us into plants. You can see that with Isiak's collection, he has this Aglaonema, which I kind of want to like take home, but he's very protective about his plants. You know, there's been a lot of viewers that I've gotten in touch with, but obviously Isiak is one of my #1 supporters, whether it's with this YouTube channel or just in life in general. We've gone through a lot of things. Yeah, we've been best friends for about 25 years. I did want to ask, from somebody who's not necessarily all about, the plant IDs. Can you just give me or maybe some words of encouragement for anybody who's really just a person that grows plants? Like, what are your takebacks? What are your thoughts about plants? What do they bring you in terms of just bringing them into your space? If you can just kind of elaborate for the plant foldies.
I think I've always had plants,
Okay.
and I've always just taken care of them. And basically, I take care of them the same way I do now. But there is a certain enjoyment about seeing live plants, and so you know, you come in and it's just an enjoyment when you come in. It's green. I tend to like lots of variegation in my plants. Unless it has a special leaf, typically I go for more variegated plants, and so they just seem to make a room vibrant. It makes the place seem alive. It makes the place seem lived in. I grew up in the country, down 5 miles of dirt road, and so I can appreciate nature like that. And so now that I live here in the city, this kind of, you know, it keeps me grounded. It reminds me that it kind of reminds me of a simpler time when I grew up, and just growing up in the country and, you know, on a farm with, you know, cows and horses and things like that. And so this in the city, this just kind of reminds me that some of the plants here, at the time I wasn't into plants growing up, and I've seen some of these plants just in the woods, and I was like, oh, that's rather interesting. And so now, since I have really sort of delved into it, and you know, and I actually scanned the plant to see, oh, this is an Aglaonema or
Okay.
Monstera. I can actually, I think the other day, no, it's been a few months now, but we went to it was Fort Worth, and we went to go see the butterflies or whatever. And so then I was able to say, oh, that's I don't know, whatever kind of plant it was. And so it's just kind of funny that now that, you know, I'm studying these plants, and you know, it's nice to know what you have. If somebody says, what do you have? You know, I have easy care plants,
Yes.
Monsteras, Calathea.
That's not an easy care plant
Well,
though, the Calathea, but for some reason.
I haven't had a problem growing it.
So actually, plant foldy, so you know how I always talk about that Hedera Helix or the Hedera Helix English ivy? I would tell you Isaac is actually the professional English ivy grower. Where is your Hedera Helix? Is it somewhere in this group here, or what did we put?
Well, you want to
We'll pan it over.
No, it's not in here. If you give me a second.
Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm gonna give you a second. We'll pan over. All right, plant foldies, this is that Hedera Helix. So as you can see right here, we always talk about whether people can grow this like indoors long term. Isaac, how do you keep this English ivy alive? How long have you had this? I feel like it's been what? Six months?
No. I got it. Yeah, it's been right around Christmas time.
So as you can see right here, plant foldies, look at it. There's not a single spider mite, mealy bug. I mean, there are some, maybe some leaves that are, dead, but that's natural for the plant. But like,
and he didn't tell me he was coming by, or else I would have cleaned it up a little bit. But
no, that's fine. That's the thing though, right? Isaac, it's interesting how whenever you have somebody that's either like a plant influencer, their collections are perfect. People ask me for my houseplant tour. You've seen my plants.
Yes.
It's all over. Mm-hmm. And, what's interesting is if you take a look at the soil right here, guys, he actually has not even watered this English ivy. And for some reason, there's no spider mites. Isaac's house, it doesn't have high humidity, but for some reason, he's still able to keep this from having spider mites. Do you spray it? Or what do you do? What is the secret to growing an English ivy?
Listen, I don't know. I have no clue. All I know is we saw it, and it was cheap at the store. It was like, and it was I think this one was like
$1.99.
Yeah, like $2. And so I said, okay, it's a challenge. And so, but as you can tell, it's leaning one way. It's because the window that I have it in, it's leaning toward that way. But,
is it on a south-facing window? Or?
No, I don't know what direction.
Oh no, I think it's east facing. Yeah. You gave, yeah.
Yeah, but it gets pretty good lighting. It doesn't get it gets good lighting. For some reason, it works. And so I'm an underwaterer.
Okay.
I typically only water, and it's just by accident because I'm working a lot. And so I typically only water once every 2 weeks. Sometimes I try to do it every Saturday, just do everything every Saturday. But some weeks I simply don't do it. You know, get busy, go visiting.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, and don't really think about it. And so, but that's why, I don't know. Right now, it's a little dry right now.
So are we gonna water this after this video, or are you gonna just?
I will water it after the video. But as far as spraying, I will spring it with some chemicals, and then we had some that mist that you made.
The foldy mist, that neem oil,
yes.
and I feel like it's helped, right? I mean,
well, yes. I mean, the chemicals helped, but I've switched to that because I didn't. It's the idea of the chemicals, and the mystic oil seemed to be a little bit.
The neem oil, yeah.
Yeah. It seemed to be. I don't know. I just don't want a lot of chemicals on my plants. But
this is just.
This seems to be doing well. I'm not sure what it's supposed to look like, but
it's supposed to look like this. I mean,
and it doesn't have any spider mites, and so.
Yeah, so, you know, the thing about it is plant foldies, and, you know, every video, right, I talk about Hedera Helix. I know that Isaac thinks it's crazy that I say it that way, but, you know, we've talked about this. He knows me outside of the YouTube venue, but the fact that he has been able to grow this, and again, plant foldies, the reason why I wanted to visit, you know, my best friend Isaac's place is I want to make sure that for those that watch this channel, you don't have to be a professional plant person. Like, honestly, a lot of Isaac's plants, when we take a look a little bit, these are easy to care for plants. I enjoy seeing my best friend get into plants. And like, as far as, you know, some people who claim that they're experts, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I definitely do invest more time in plants. But the fact that he can grow this English ivy, this Hedera Helix, with very minimal care kind of brings me to another point of some plants might just love other owners more so than others. Like, I don't know, Isaac, because you talked about like Calatheas. You're able to keep Calatheas.
Yeah.
And this.
I don't really know. I don't do anything special. I really don't.
Okay.
Really don't.
We were trying to see if there was like a secret. That's the point of this video.
There is no secret. So when he talks about people that aren't experts, that's me. I just have an appreciation for plants. I like the different colors, different variegations, and I like the different leaf shapes. But for me, they have to be easy care, because if I have a fussy plant, and I have bought some cheap fussy plants to see if I could keep them, and it just does not work for me. Or if they have to have a special amount of humidity or anything like that, and if they do, then they're probably going to die with me. But for the most part, I've been able to grow most of the plants that I have. I mean that I've bought or that have been given to me. You know, just take some time and care for them. And so I am not by any means a professional or very knowledgeable about
I don't
this.
know, Isaac. The fact that you've been able to grow, I don't know,
yeah.
You've been able to grow an English ivy. And then, I mean, as I pan over here, and I know plant foldies that y'all think I am just crazy because I obsess over English ivy, but how can you not? When you look at the shape of the leaves, you can see that Isaac has been able to grow this plant. You can see there is new growth coming around, and literally, you know, what I would tell you, Isaac, with English ivy is usually at the base of the ivy, it'll lose a bunch of leaves, but this has remained pretty full. Like, this has literally doubled in size. You have it in a catch pot. I love the pink planter. Where did that come from?
That came from you.
Yes, you know, IKEA, if you want to get one of those things. But I love the English ivy. I think maybe the secret is you just don't baby it. Is that it? Is that what it is?
I don't baby any of my plants. There are some days where most of the time I look at them every day, because I have some here in my living room and I look at them every day. But I have several in my plant room I may not look at for a couple of days. Well, this one is one of the ones that's in my plant room. But I did spend a couple of weeks, I think it was a couple of weekends ago, I did take some time and I cleaned them up and made sure to water them and give them. I use a teeny tiny bit of Miracle Grow in my water, and I put that in there maybe once or usually once a month. Usually not any more than that, and just water them and just, you know, make sure that any dead leaves are gone. And so that's what I have done with this one. But it's been a couple of weeks since I've actually just put my hands on it. I've watered it. It probably was 2 weeks ago. That's the last time I watered my plants.
Okay.
So what? I don't understand the fascination, but
I mean, I'm fascinated. I really,
it was a challenge.
You know, I just maybe it's just me. Literally, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who gets excited about English ivy, but I think it's because it does remind me of like a trident maple, Japanese maples, and this is beautiful. Like, I almost want to come over here And Isaac's, when he's not looking, I'm just gonna go ahead and slightly just go ahead and put this in my car outside, or especially this. Like, I mean, the fact that he has this gorgeous Aglaonema right here, love, love, love that. And you know, Isaac's space, he just, I just love it. And
yeah, anyway,
but what I would tell you is this, Isaac, can you tell the plant foldies, you know, for somebody who just grows plants, what is your routine like in terms of just plant care?
My plant care, when I say it's very easy, it's so easy. When I initially get a plant, if I have some foldy mist, I'll use that. If not, I had bought a fresh bottle of
Isaac, I'm gonna tell you this, you are literally my best friend. The fact that you're promoting the foldy mist, the folks that don't know what foldy mist is, it's literally a neem oil spray that I've created. It's very cost effective, right? Like literally
it's very cheap as opposed to the, I think it's like
the insecticidal soap,
$15 or $20 that you pay for the
Captain Jack's, yeah,
well, I'm not gonna name any names because I don't know them anyway, but I still have a bottle of that, and so I don't have any foldy mist. And so I just recently got a couple of plants, so I just, you know, sprayed them down, and then it just cleaned them up, make sure that the soil was moist, because I know how I am, so I'll drench it. And then usually when I first get it, I'll put when I say just a couple of granules of Miracle Grow, and that's literally it. And then I will set it by a window where it can get a lot of good light. It's maybe just a couple of hours of direct light, but it mostly gets indirect light coming into my apartment. And so that seems to work best for me. And they pretty much stay there in that one spot. I water them every 2 weeks. Some weeks I do water them every Saturday, or, you know, at least once a week, or, you know, I just fill the soil. And if it's really dry, then I'll just water that one plant. I won't water all of them. But typically that is my routine.
That's your care routine?
Yeah, you know, and I try to get, you know, clean them up when I can, when I have a little bit of time, especially if I have a couple of hours, especially on a Saturday, because when I'm not doing anything, then I'll just look and see which plant is the worst. Then I'll do some clipping and then, you know, try to keep them clean. So that's why this one doesn't have a lot of dead leaves, because I cleaned it up.
I want that Hedera Helix.
Yeah. And so it's interesting because this is not a plant that I would normally get.
Okay.
But I mean, it's really not. It's gorgeous.
So who influenced you?
I was about to say influence. Richard, you dared me to see if I could grow this.
I actually did.
And it was the plant was on clearance. When I tell you that I'm cheap, I'm cheap.
$1.99.
Yeah. It was $2, and so I think it was on clearance. They were trying to get rid of it. So I said, okay, if it dies, I've only lost $2.
But it's thriving.
Yeah, but it did just the opposite. And I want to say it's been almost a year that I've had this, because I remember it was wintertime when we got this, and I can't remember if it was December or January. So it's been roughly a year. And so I, you know, because of the cold, didn't grow as fast, of course.
But it's
then
really,
all of a sudden it lay dormant
for a minute.
It lay dormant for a while, and I actually thought it was gonna die. And I was like, well, I'll keep it, but you know, it still had some green to it. And so. But I like it. I mean, I like the variegation in it. But again, this is not a plant that I would just normally be attracted to.
Yeah.
But once it started growing, then it really started growing rather quickly. And so I like it. I think it's the challenge of actually growing something when somebody says, oh, you know, you can't do this.
Well, I didn't say you couldn't. I just said it was one of the most challenging plants. So I mean, like I said again, plant foldies, if you ever want to know somebody real life that's been able to grow an English ivy long term, Isaac takes the cake, you take the crown. Maybe I'm literally the only one who finds this plant fascinating. It's okay. But I will say this, plant foldies, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Please, right, Isaac? They got to hit the like button.
Hey, you got to hit the like button. I'm all about supporting anybody that's out there just having fun, trying to do stuff. And he's my best friend, and so he's very knowledgeable at this. And so,
oh, thank you, Isaac.
You are very knowledgeable. And so, but thank you for asking me. I had not planned on doing this today, but
I just wanted to go ahead. It's called Room Raiders right here, whatever we want to call it. So, Isaac, I did want to go into some of your other plants. So, like, we're gonna go pan over. Can you show them some of the Richie almost sent to plant heaven plants? There's a couple of them that you've literally had for years. So let's take a look at some of them.
Hold on, stand by.
All right, plant foldies. So as you can see right here, we have two beautiful Philodendron lemon lime. Okay, so Isaac, can you tell me
Okay,
about this plant?
this plant Richard gave me was all in one pot. And I do believe, I want to say this was the original pot that it came in. So this is actually your pot. And so what happened was it was dry, the leaves were brown, and I went over there and it just looked a hot mess. It was pitiful. And so he just said, Isaac, will you rehab this for me? So I said, okay, fine. So everything was in this pot, and actually it wasn't that much. And so then, it started to grow, and so just within, I think it was this summer, I finally just took a couple of days just to clean the plants up. I don't even know if this is the right way how you present
No, it
them.
is perfect.
But for me, I went to, I want to say it was Callaway's or something. So I got these little poles here.
Your bamboo stakes,
This bamboo stakes. And so they're extra long, so I cut them, and so then I had some clips and things and some tape, and I just taped them up just to kind of get them off the floor. And so as you can tell, it is absolutely wonderful. And so the soil,
it's dry. The soil's dry.
Let me tell you how cheap I am. Well, never mind. We might have to make another video about that. But suffice it to say, literally, I just clipped it and I stuck it in another pot. I did not use hydroponics. I didn't use anything. And so
look at how full it is.
And this right here is just
new propagations right here.
Especially when I cleaned it up, it came out really good. But Richard has been trying to get this plant back, and I said, no, I've worked too hard to get it like this.
I mean, Isaac, you can, sharing is caring, right? Sharing is caring. I shared it, but I don't want to be what you call an Indian. What is it that we talk about being Indian giver?
Indian giver, so. Yeah, but I have, and as you can tell, this one right here.
Yeah.
On the side,
you have a new propagation right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just populated. Are you just constantly propagating this? If I feel like these plants are just growing.
Nope. When you gave it to me, like I said, it was a hot mess. It was actually pretty bad.
Like when I gave it to you, it was like this, just like one little stump. It was like one stump.
It was brown and it was nasty. And so,
goodness, Isaac, I'm gonna lose some kind of reputable education. But
at that time, you had too many.
Yes.
And so you needed to downsize, which I think was smart.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, and I was getting ready to go buy some more. So it worked out great. So I acquired this plant. It is mine now, but as you can tell, it's growing here at the top. Anyway, so when I say that I enjoy my plants, this is the kind of thing I like doing. If it had died, I'm not out of any money. But since I'm able to do this in my spare time, and it doesn't take a lot of time. I think at the time I was working 3 different jobs, and so on Saturday when I have a couple of hours, just take a few hours and I can just wind down. So instead of going out and spending money, this is what I do. And I did spend some money on some clips and stakes and things like that. And what I have to get now, I got to get new pots because all of my plants are too big for all of the pots that I have.
That's the thing though, I would tell you, Isaac, is I'm just super impressed that you are literally the plant savior. So, we talked about how this man right here, my best friend, is able to grow a Hedera Helix, but also to take a beautiful lemon lime philodendron to this stake. Like literally, this plant was on the brink of death. It was literally crisping, and it was just not presentable. And the fact that, again, plant foldies, Isaac is not as into, I guess, the details of the plant. I mean, if you mentioned it, right, it's all about the amount of time and care. For you like easy care plants. This is an easy care plant. But if you notice, he doesn't invest nearly as much money. Literally, this was a hand-me-down, if we want to go ahead and put it that way, in layman's terms. But his plants, you talk about wanting to see my plant collection. I will tell you, these are the plants that I wish I could have in my plant collection. These are what years of growth?
Well, I think you gave me this plant
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was either 3 or 4 years ago. And I want to say it was 4 because I'm still in my other apartment.
Yeah, and this is
and
now you have two. You created the twins, and so
I had to because they were all in this pot, but it was too much. So I propagated it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is nice. And so then basically I clipped it and I just put it in a pot. Typically what I do is I put them in water, but I didn't even do that with this because it was too big. And so I said, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And so that's it. That's what I did.
And, plant foldies, as you can see right over here, and we'll look at some more of the other plants, but I did want to mention how you don't have to have that much of a budget to, spend on plants. Literally, all of the plants at Isiak that we will see today, these are plants that didn't really cost them a lot of money. A lot of it has been shared by me. But, that's funny because this is a plant that literally was on the brink of going to plant heaven. But if you look, I just, Isiak, I mean, look at how gorgeous this yellow leaf is here. And you can see that there is a shine. He did use the foldy mist to make it pretty. But notice, I know that we took this out of your plant room. This is actually facing more of like a south-facing window. So that goes to show that more light for this particular lemon plant, or like the neon colored plants, have better coloration. I do want to ask our viewers, our plant foldies, what would you name this set of twins? Please leave that in the comments. We are trying to name plants. I am excited though. The cuttings that you gave me have rooted, so I am getting so it's kind of like circle, twofold, like the plant's about to die, then you have a best friend like Isiak, he'll rehab them, and then all of a sudden you have beautiful specimens like this. And to tell you the truth, Isiak, this is what most people would call a basic plant, but is there anything basic in the way, I guess, what does this particular plant give you? Like, because I mean, this is, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't let me just take both of these home.
No, I work too hard. I mean, when you have something, I think it's just that whole process of watching something grow that was, pretty well on the brink of plant heaven, if you want to call it that. And then watch it and kind of cultivate it. And it's just watching something grow. And plus it was given to me. And he's right. Most of my plants, I don't think I've spent any more than $20 on a plant.
If that.
Yeah, and most of my plants are under $10, but this one was given to me. But it's just the simple fact that it is this wonderful lighter green color, this lemon lime as it's called. And so it adds a little bit of brighter color to my collection. And typically, I probably said it is a basic plant, and I probably wouldn't have taken a second look at it. But if someone gives me something, say, hey, we'll let you have it. If it dies, it dies, but I think it was that challenge of watching it grow and then, trying to babying it when it needed to be babied and things like that. So, I don't know. It has grown on me.
Okay, so what is this plant that we're looking at? This is a Dracaena, white aspen. Isiak, tell me about that plant.
Now, this is another
Save Me from
plant.
Richie?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like Save Me from Richie. This plant has been a little bit tougher to take care of. I probably need a little bit more specialized care, but it has not died. That is the thing about this
It's
one.
bone dry right now, even though this is a Dracaena, right?
Yeah. And because I'm an underwaterer, that might be part of it. But this was brown. It had more brown leaves than it does now. So we trimmed, Richard trimmed some, and then I trimmed some as well, because I had to cut a lot of the leaves completely off. And so this is probably the worst one right now. But the leaf, when I got this plant,
Everything
most
was
of
brown.
them looked worse than this. So right now, this is the worst. This is, I think, yeah, not the worst one. Yeah, this probably needs to be cut.
But this one looks like it's gotten some new leaf. Like this is a new one right here.
It has gotten some new growth. Again, when you gave it to me, it was bone dry. The leaves were worse than this. So it has had some new growth, and it has grown a little bit taller. This one's been a little bit tougher to recover, but I'm still able to rehab it nonetheless.
Love it.
So
I really like this, and you know, this was a big box store plant that I bought. I got it on clearance at Lowe's, and this is what you call a Dracaena white aspen. Now, if you're able to get it into a large size, I mean, that's a pretty expensive plant. You know, we talk about Dracaenas being an underrated plant. I feel like it is. But Isaac, I don't feel like you care whether a plant is popular or not, right? Like, what is it about this plant that you said that you wanted to rehab? Is it just the colors, the variegation? What is it?
Well, one is popularity of a plant. Stop showing them that dry soil.
I mean, okay.
But that's it. But it is the simple fact that I do like a challenge. That's one. But another thing is, you gave it to me. You're my friend. You want to see, hey, can you rehab this? Yeah, and I like the challenge to see if I can rehab. If somebody says, oh, this is a great plant, and I look at the plant and I don't think it's great, all right, I just don't think it's great. And so I don't make a big deal about the popularity of a plant. I do like the variegation here, this stunning variegation here. This is probably a plant that I would have picked up if I could find it for cheap. Just so happens that he gave me one. I do like the lighter variegation. It adds, because I do have a lot of green a lot of green plants, just solid colors, but I do have pinks and things like that. So it does add a little bit of variety, and so that's why I do like this Dracaena. The fact that, again, he gave it to me, and it is a challenge, and so I just want to see the way that I rehab plants. Can I do it with this plant? Obviously,
it's taking a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's taking a little bit of time, but it is working, and so even though it may be a little bit slower, I'm okay with that as long as I can see the growth. All of this is new here up top. It has gotten probably, I don't know, 2 inches taller since.
Yeah, I feel like that's a, you know, and with more of these lighter colored plants, so I've heard that silica plant solution is something we can do for it to prevent from browning. So I mean, I'll end up sharing that. We've talked about it. I know you're like, I don't know about that solution, but yeah, that's a plant. I hate the fact that you are kind of roasting me in front of all the plant foldies, but as you can see, you know, it is that transparent thing. And what I want to do, plant foldies, if you are interested in featuring your plants and doing like a little home tour or whatnot, I am open to that for any of our local plant foldies. I do want to go pivot and venture out into other plant content besides just looking at big box. So hopefully, if you love what you've seen so far for Isaac's plants, please hit the like button. It really does help push that content. We put in a lot of effort to just get this plant content for y'all. And if you have any plant care tips for this Dracaena on how you would personally rehab it, leave it in the comment section. But we're gonna go ahead and look at some more of Isaac's plants right in a second. So Isaac, what are we looking at right here? This little scraggly little thing.
Well,
it's a Syngonium albo. Can you tell the plant foldies what the Syngonium albo?
This Syngonium alba started off as one plant.
Okay, just one leaf?
Yeah, one leaf. And so it started off, you know, rather small, and and I had this is one of your pots, but
yeah, terracotta. Yep.
Well, it's from a different plant, and so I put it in here. And so, as you can tell, it does have a new leaf. I think there's 5 of them here now.
Yep.
And so it has grown quite tall. And I've had this one for probably 3 years.
It just doesn't want to die, even though it's...
Yeah, it was on his last leg when you gave it to me, but I was able to salvage it, and then it started growing all of a sudden. And so I just kept it, moved it into a little bit larger pot, just to see if that would help the root system. And it seems to have helped.
Yeah, I would say too, you know, plant foldies, we talk about Syngonium. So if you notice, it is a little bit leggy, but he does have some support here. You can propagate it and make it a little bit more full. And notice how he has, the soil is literally dry. So this is what it looks like to be an underwater. I mean, I do the same thing. It's just saying that sometimes less is more. You know, I guess the theme I'm getting from, you know, Isaac is that your plants, it's very minimal care on what you put, but they look amazing. So plant folies, let me know what you think of this Syngonium alba. Look at how how it's pretty balanced on the actual variegation here. It's got some pretty good genetics. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some more of these plants. So plant foldies, we're gonna look at some Aglaonema. So just like me, Isaac loves Aglaonemas. You can see he's got a couple. There's more in his collection, which I'm gonna pan over, but I did want to talk to you about Aglaonema. Like, where did you get this one at?
Was it Peter's?
Yeah, it was at Peter's Planters at PlantCon, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was the one. Yeah, I got this one at PlantCon, and so it's actually grown a little bit since I've had it, and so yeah, it's dry. It's not time to water yet, so
okay.
But I do like this variegation. It almost has this faded look on it. I think that's what drew me to it, and I don't know, just a nice plant. I seem to do well with the Aglaonemias, and so thought I'd give it a try. It was a little bit dry when I got it, but it was a gorgeous plant. It's still a gorgeous plant.
Yeah, and you know what I like about Aglaonemas and plant folies, if you notice right over here, beautiful white stems. You know, for Isaac, who, I mean, you said it on camera, you are a self-proposed underwaterer. Aglaonema really work well for, somebody who doesn't have time to water. And I did want to ask, because, we've looked at some of that plant YouTube content from others. Why are people in the United States not really running to get Aglaonemas, even though these plants, if you ask my opinion, maybe I'm biased and maybe you're biased. Why do you think that? Is it because it's not rare? It's not there's not a lot of value? Like, what is it?
Well, it depends on each person, of course, but I think I'm not involved in the hype.
Yeah.
And so when somebody says, "Oh, you've got to have this plant in your plant collection," it is all of that. No, if I look at it and I don't like it, I'm not getting it. So I'm not necessarily persuaded by. I don't really get, like I said, I don't really get that involved in the hype, because sometimes what happens is the latest and greatest plant might not do well in the conditions that I have.
Okay.
So I know these plants will typically work. When you told me it was an Aglaonema, and it was, and I'm lucky because I can either look it up, but you're right there, and you know what
about
works
the
well
Aglaonema,
for me.
yep.
Well, you know what works well in my collection. You know that I'm an underwaterer. It has to be easy care. If it's too fussy, I can't have it in my collection because it's just gonna die. So I'm not gonna spend that kind of money. And so you already know I'm cheap. So
I think you're more of the savior of plants. So guys, plant foldies, if you have plants that are about to go to plant heaven, just get them to Isaac. Hi, JR Sings. He will go ahead and get you your plants looking good, and then you can just take them back, because that's what I'm going to do with that Philodendron lemon lime.
No. So, but I think if you do what works well for you in the conditions of your house or greenhouse or apartment or whatever, you do well with what works for you. And once you figure that out, and I guess I figured out what works well for me, I know, I'm gonna, I'm not really gonna do a fussy plant, because I'm not gonna have the time. So why was I say, I really want that? No. And the hype doesn't really bother me. When I see people, they say, this is the next best thing. No. Okay, how do I take care of it? No, it's not gonna work for me. So, and that's just mine.
But here's the thing though, I mean, Isaac, like, I'm looking at your Aglaonema. Your Aglaonema look even better than a lot of my Aglaonema, and you say you do not put in a lot of effort. Is there some juju that you do? No. Do you sing to the plants? By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you go to Hi JR Sings. He does cover Filipino Tagalog songs. He's an amazing singer. But like, I mean, looking at this is an Aglaonema Maria here. Like, this is gorgeous. And this is a plant you can see at a big box store. But for some reason, your plants kind of remind me of grandmother's plants.
Yeah. Now this one, I recently purchased this one
from a friend.
Yeah, I purchased this one from a friend.
$5?
Yeah, it was $5. It was $5. And so again, I like the variegation. It's a plant that's easy, and so with the lighter green against the darker green, I just really liked it. It's a basic plant. It really, and I hate.
But what is a basic plant? Is it a basic plant as in the care? Because if you're going to ask my opinion, this plant is beautiful.
It is gorgeous. Well, I guess a basic plant would be just like an ivy or something like that, or like a pothos or something like that. And it's seemingly easy, you know, as far as something like this, and I hate to say this, but a plant like this, because it is the darker green, this is typically what they have at funerals. No, I'm not trying to be funny, but I showed this to somebody. Oh, they said, well, who died? Where'd you get that plant from? I'm like, no, nobody died. It was just a $5 plant, and I'm cheap. So, but it looks good. And so when I say a basic plant, I kind of equate it with that. But you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
Well, I just really love the fact that you have some Aglaonemas. I'm going to go film some more of your Aglaonema collection. But if you were to ask, like, I mean, I guess if you were to mention to the plant foldies, what is your favorite genus of plants? Would it be Aglaonema? Would it be Monsteras? Would it be Philodendron? What is it? Because it seems like you know.
If you look, I have, it's a bit eclectic, but I do have these Monstera that I recently purchased. And well, we'll just leave these right here, and let's take a look.
That's a philodendron.
I mean, a philodendron. I said Monstera, didn't I?
Yes.
My bad.
Oh my gosh, I need this. Do y'all see this plant foldies?
Yeah.
This is a Jerry horn philodendron.
Yeah. Now this is probably the most expensive plant that I own.
Okay.
Now mind you, I'm 6'1", and look how huge this
leaf is. Yes.
Look how huge that leaf is. And so, and since I bought it, I think I've only had it maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's
already
grown.
pushed out. So that means you're gonna go ahead and give me. So you're gonna give me a cutting, right? We're gonna go ahead and cut this, here. I'm gonna go ahead and just when you're not looking, we're gonna go ahead and cut it.
No.
And actually, I did want to ask you. So there has been that scandal and debate about just people that prop lift. You know, they go to like stores and, you know, like take little cuttings or go to people's personal collections. What are your thoughts about prop lifting? I think it's a crime. I think it is highly inappropriate. But some people feel like that, you know, if something's broken, they can just go ahead and cut it all the way and take it. So what are your thoughts about that? Because clearly I might want to just prop lift this. Just kidding.
If you really wanted it, all you have to do is just ask me.
Yes.
But we're friends. I am not so involved in the plant community that I'm going to go to somebody's house and steal plants or steal a cutting of a plant. I will appreciate their plant. That's just like when I go to your house. You've got some gorgeous plants, but those are your plants. Why would I don't simply see the need for that. Is it a crime? Yeah, it's a crime. But you know, most people would say, "Oh, it's just a plant. Oh, it's just a plant." But if you've taken the time to cultivate that plant, especially when you watched it grow from just one little seedling or whatever, and then you were able to watch it grow, kind of like I am with, you know, maybe this one. But
I need that one. Like, well, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and just take this plant, and, you know, I'm going to take it home after this video.
Yeah.
You're good with it?
Yeah, kind of like this, you know, but Grandma gave me this one.
No.
And so that's why I covered this one. This one, I like this one because this philodendron, I like the large leaves.
Yes.
And I didn't have any plants with this large. It was
it's
already
beautiful.
a large plant when I got it. Well, yeah.
And the thing about it is, for those that actually like philodendron, you know, philodendron Jerry horn is a more uncommon philodendron, even though it is a green version. So you notice how it's green. It's got the beautiful emerald green. It's still a pretty pricey philodendron. And I always say, just because a plant is green, it doesn't necessarily mean the monetary value is not appreciated. I see that is it just growing in sphagnum, or is that like a topsoil?
No, this is how I got it. And
okay.
So this is the pot that it came in. Typically, I don't use this.
Okay. I like it.
Well, I don't.
I don't really like sphagnum either.
I don't.
You should try Leca or Pond, that hydroponic.
Really? Okay, I might try that.
We might.
But typically when I get a plant and I let it grow so long in it, and then I get rid of it. And that's just me. Maybe I should actually try to leave it in that sphagnum, but I don't. I take it out.
No,
but this is only like a couple of months old, so it's still in there.
It's beautiful.
And I mean, it's got some new growth coming here, and so right now it's growing. The pot is almost too small.
Okay.
I think once it gets a little bit bigger, I'll try to transplant it to a larger
Okay,
pot.
so we're gonna look at some more plants. OMG. So you know how we talked about Isaac not being a professional plant grower? He's been able to unlock the secrets of the Hedera Helix. I'm just jealous because if you see right here, My best friend Isaac has an Alocasia poly he bought at Rubel's for $14.99. This was how many months ago?
It was during Christmas time. You know what?
Yeah.
If it wasn't the same time we got the Hedera Helix, it was shortly after.
No, I think it was around the same time because
around the
we
same
talked
time.
about plants that I don't think most people can grow, and you were
Yeah.
up for the challenge.
Yeah, we got this about the same time.
So we talk about. If you watch my videos, right, plant foldies, I always talk about the Alocasia poly. It's a beautiful Alocasia, but it is a spider mite magnet. But if you see here, look at how perfect this is. And it looks like it's just lost one leaf, but it is not leggy at all. And if you are actually in Isaac's space, he does not have high humidity. I would say your humidity levels are in the 40 range. He doesn't have humidifiers. You don't have none of that. And we have not even transferred this into pond or some type of semi-hydroponic. So can you just kind of tell me, like, what is the secret? There's something.
There is no secret.
Yes, there is a secret.
No secret.
I don't, oh my gosh.
There's no secret. But this, what is it, the zebra plant that looks close, similar to this?
I don't even,
it
zebra plant. It's a zebra plant.
Okay, it's a zebra plant.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, but
Okay.
it's only $15. And so I was like, okay, let me try it. I like this seam right here.
Yep.
And it does look like a zebra, like a copycat zebra.
Yep.
That's what I called it at first. And so then
Yeah.
he told me what it really was. But it was something about it that drew me.
How
And
often do you
so-
water this? That's the thing. Like,
well,
I'm really trying.
It's a little bit moist right now, but I only water once every 2 weeks. Now
Okay.
this one, it started to droop a little bit, and so I think I watered it an extra time. And
Do you spray it with any neem oil, or is it really just?
Yes, but I haven't sprayed anything in about 2 months because
Okay.
I ran out of
The folding mist. Don't worry, I've got it in
Well,
production. You can
yeah.
go ahead and buy it on my store. Just kidding. I don't have that kind of merchandise.
Yeah, and then, but I didn't want to spray anything else. I mean, I could spray it with the chemicals that I have, which would be fine, which is what I had done before. But I haven't done anything. I don't have any spider mites. I probably should spray it. But this is just a gorgeous plant, and I don't know. It just brings me pleasure. I like the design, and so I just think it looks cool.
But here's the thing though, we all want to be able to enjoy an Alocasia and plant foldies. If you're watching this live during a live premiere, or even if you're watching this, please leave a comment. How many of you guys have Alocasia polys that have lasted for almost an entire year and it looks like this? Please leave that in the comments. And again, plant foldies, this is a plant that has literally been in a substrate called, soil. It looks like it's doing okay, and I don't know. Maybe it's something in the air. So, and then you said you wanted to show this one right here. Was this the Monstera Peru? What can you tell me about this Monstera Peru? What did we do with this?
This Monstera Peru has grown so much that I actually have.
Some propagations.
I'm trying to look. I think, is this the mother plant or?
You have another one somewhere. Yep.
No, there is another one, and I've actually cut it before. I've cut this one several times, and it just shoots off so much that I had to cut it. And so, but I think this might actually be the mother plant here. I think I'm trying to see where I cut it.
Oh yeah, you did cut it right there. Yep.
Yeah, I think I cut it right there. But I have 2 more propagations from this plant because it is a runner, and it seems to be doing very well in my atmosphere that I have here in my apartment.
I do love the fact that, again, it doesn't mean that a plant isn't as pretty if it's not variegated. I mean, this has got some beautiful variegation on it, or just solid green colors.
It's a base. When I say a basic plant, it's just a basic
green plant.
But when I put that against, let's just say I put that
with the poly, yep.
Yeah, and so it's almost like a foundation of green, and then when I pair that with something like my Hedera Helix.
Okay, you're just showing off now because you have a Hedera Helix and an Alocasia poly.
But as you can see, this is what brings me joy right here. It's because I have this solid green color. It's almost like an artist, and I'm not. I'm not a painter or anything like that. But I like that I have this, green, wonderful texture here on the leaves. But then you have this light green here, and then I have this poly right here. And so it's kind of like what I like, and it's not a lot of money. $15. I can't even remember how much.
$5. I think you got.
I think it was $5, and this is a $2 plant. But it brings me joy, and so if you're the kind of person that just enjoys plants and you're not out to spend a lot of money, it can be done. I'm proof of that. So
you are proof of the fact that you can grow these hard to grow plants. Because I mean, I'm going to pan over here. We're just going to go ahead and take a look at this right here. It looks like he's got a Calathea orbifolia. How many times have I sent this to a plant heaven? More than I want to say on YouTube, actually, but that is absolutely stunning. Yeah. And it looks like you uppotted it, and it looks like it's about to go ahead and point at another new
yeah, right here.
And
Grandma gave me that.
Oh yeah, and well, of course. Here's the thing, though, right? Plant foldies, look, it is dry as a bone. So the popular to contrary belief, you can grow out Calatheas in drier conditions. I don't know how Isiak does it, but that is the case. And then you can see right here, plant foldies. We've got a caladium he's growing indoors. So I had asked a question about whether you can grow a caladium indoors. And this is just really cute. I love that he has it staked. Look at that beautiful pattern on it. And then we can see that he's got a silver amidrium right here. Really nice looking silver amidrium. And then these are some more of the rehab plants I gave him. I gave him a coleus cutting, and then this Polea dark mystery or Pan Am right over there. We've got a purple shields plant. That's a very tough plant. Let's see if Isiak can actually grow it long term. But you can see right there, it's just in his living room, and he has just plants that they're beautiful, and I'm really proud of it. So
oh yeah, you already talked about this, but
yep.
I just got those this weekend.
I just gave this. And are you going to keep that in the water, that coleus plant? Or
my preference is no at some point, because it's got a good root system. Mm-hmm. So at some point I will go ahead and plant it.
Okay.
In soil.
Plant foldies, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation that me and my best friend Isiak have had about his plants. I'm going to show you a couple more of his plants. This one right here is an Aglaonema stripes that we actually bought a couple years back from our friend Garen, who runs the Plant Keeper Incorporated out in Dallas, Texas. Look at how gorgeous these stripes are. And you can see that Isiak has quite a bit of plants. Most of them are easy care plants, although I would say he's even able to grow caladiums indoors, which is actually really challenging. You can see right over here, plant foldies. He also has a Diphymbacia, a Syngonium that my grandmother gave him. I believe that is a Syngonium Bold Illusion. And then we also have a Pilea Moon Valley plant that I remember him purchasing out at Lowe's when we were out big box store plant shopping. And a lot of the plants that we've been featuring of his, he's had for quite a while. So, as far as just an extensive plant collection, what I admire and wish I could do with my plant collection is actually just have plants that you could grow long term. Like all of these plants, while some people might consider them basic plants, easy to care for plants is really the key. Like he has a Philodendron golden violin, and you can see how it is just a simple plant, but a beautiful plant as well. I do admire the fact that, Isiak, he is pretty cost effective when it comes to his plant collection. He finds them either on clearance, or he might inherit some of these plants that I may not have the best care for, and he's able to pretty much resurrect them from possibly going into plant heaven. But you can see beautiful plants. So we'll continue the conversation with Isiak. I mean, here he has another Aglaonema white margin. Absolutely love that. It's one of my favorite Aglaonemas that you don't really see often at big box stores. Costa Farms did release that not too long ago, and I'm glad that him and I were able to go pick that up. But you can see all of these beautiful plants that he has. I'm pretty envious of his collection.
All right, I kind of wanted to showcase this particular plant. Richard's gonna have to tell me what it is.
Philodendron ottabopuense, or however, however you can pronounce it.
I don't know what it is, but it has these elongated leaves.
Okay.
The reason why I like this particular one, this was another one that Richie gave me, but it was about that big when he gave it to me, and it seemed like it stayed like that forever. Part of that enjoyment of plants for me is something like this, when I have it, and it stayed like that. And I was like, oh, this is never gonna grow. I can't get this thing to grow. And I thought it looked like it died several times, but it kept, I was able to resurrect it. And so And so just a couple of weeks ago, I noticed it was getting a bit top heavy, and so I went ahead and I staked it up. But for anybody that's this is sort of the culmination of why I like plants. It is that challenge to see if I can get it to grow. And when it does grow, there's a certain pleasure in that. You know, my friend gave it to me, and you know, I don't want it to die. If it dies, it's fine. It's it was given to me, so it doesn't cost me anything. So I will have to figure out something. The stem is a little bit weak here, but it's a little bit top heavy, and that's one of the reasons why I had to stake it up. I'm trying to get the stem to be, to make sure that it's healthy. And it seems to be healthy, but to be able to grow it from basically about an inch and a half, 2-inch plant to this is cool to me. I like to see that development, and so I like I said earlier, I enjoy the leaves on it, and so I just wanted to make sure that I showcase this, because even if you don't have a green thumb, find something like this. See what you can do with it, and enjoy it like I do.
I love it, Isaac. Thank you for sharing that. It is such a beautiful plant right here. Plant foldies. Again, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button. It does help push out the content. And obviously, we want everybody to see all of the gorgeous plants that, Hi JR Sings, also known as Isaac on YouTube. So we're going to just take a look at a couple more plants, and then we'll end the video. All right, Isaac, it looks like we've got some more beautiful pink plants. Look at that Aglaonema right here. So what can you tell me about these plants?
Well, let's see. These two, good Lord, I think we got those probably about 4 years ago as well when we went to go see Garen. Mm-hmm. And I think these were those plants, those $5 plants that he gave me.
The plant keeper.
Yeah,
wow, this is fabulous.
Yeah, remember we had that hard freeze, and he was going to throw them away, but he gave them to me at cost. So this is one of them. And so, I need to stake it up. I just realized that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but I probably put it in this pot, I don't know, probably 2 years ago. So it's this one has been a bit of a slow grower.
Yep.
But it's still absolutely gorgeous. I mean, as you can tell, I'm loving the pink that's in it. I think that freeze really hindered the root system, and so it just took an extremely long time to recover. And so I've sort of babied this one, and I thought really it was gonna die, and so it hasn't. And so it has become a very nice plant. So, it's growing. And so this one right here, this came from
that's an
Aglaonema
Sparkling Sarah, I believe.
Sarah. And so again, it was just a $5 plant. This old terracotta plant, this terracotta pot, Richard. It's an ugly pot, but it works. And so he spray painted us when he was spray painting pots. And so, but anyway, I just used that pot because it's what I had. A bit leggy for me, but I still love the
foliage. That's what happens with Aglaonemas. I've noticed that this one is a new baby that it's pushed out. So.
Yes.
A lot of people ask about Aglaonemas. They can get leggy, but as you can see right here, he has staked it up. And if you wait for the Aglaonema, it'll start to get full again on its own because it'll push babies. And then you can see right here, is this a beautiful Peperomia Ecuador? It looks like a watermelon peperomia. Look at how pretty that is.
And I just recently put this one in a pot, probably within the past 2 months.
Okay.
So I've got to clean it up a little bit. This one happened to die, but it has sprung up, and it's not as dry as some of my other plants because I really drenched it when I transplanted it to this pot. So you see my plants here, but I really just want to take a moment to thank Richie for coming by and for asking me. So if you're not following Growfolds, and he didn't tell me to say this, but if you're not following Growfolds, go ahead and follow.
Thank you, Isaac.
He's very knowledgeable at what he does, and so if you get a moment, shameless plug here, hit me up on Hi JR Sings, take a look at my content as well. But I'm just really here to support Richie and Growfolds, and so hopefully, with my collection, maybe it'll inspire you to find some plants of your own to try to grow if you enjoy plants.
And that's what I would tell you. Plant foldies, again, this has been an honor and pleasure. Even though Isaac is my best friend, he's literally my family, my brother for longer than 25 years. Just to see that he has gotten into plants. I think the general message and what I've always mentioned in a lot of my videos is it doesn't matter the value of the plant. It is what the plant brings you, whether it brings you joy or stresses. And you can see that there is a healthy balance from Isaac. I mean, I don't know how you figured out how to take care of a Hedera Helix or an Alocasia poly, but you know, you do have quite a bit of easy care plants as well that balances out, you know, the Calatheas that we were looking at and all of that. Do you have any more messages for anybody who wants to collect plants or start plants or maybe intimidated to grow plants? What else do you want to say?
Listen, I would tell anybody, don't be intimidated. Intimidated, I can't even say the word. Intimidated by plants, because if you can find an easy care plant, or you just find a group of collection of plants that you like, you figure out a way to take care of them, which is what I did. I know what works best for me and my lifestyle, which is easy care. And so if I do get a fussy one, like I said, it will usually die, but then, you know, with the Hedera Helix and then the Alocasia poly, I'm able to grow those, and you know, maybe those are fussy plants, but for some reason I'm able to grow those. So I think I have a healthy collection of plants, of easy grow plants, and so if you want to do the same thing, I would just encourage you to do that. Naturally, don't start with this many. Start with one or two. See if you can get them to grow.
I mean, unless you have a best friend like Richie who wants to give you plants to rehab and you just bring them out of and just resurrect them. I'm telling you, plant foldies, if you want somebody to resurrect, he's got some magical powers right there. Isaac, again, thank you so much for letting me into your space. You know, we are always hanging out. Please tell them that I will do a house plant tour, but the plants you saw is basically the plants you will see in my home.
So yeah, just hit him up, like the video, hit him up in the comments, and so that way you can feature your plants as well, which I think is cool. I like the big box, you know, videos that he's been doing, but I do tend to see what real people have in their own collections.
Love it, Isaac. Thank you so much. And guys, this is Richie at Growfolds. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.